Hello everyone, this is Ibrahim Aljada again. Please follow the exact order of lessons in this course for ultimate benefit, starting with the introduction, then lesson 1 and so on. Lesson 1, the ba letter, harful ba, should not be skipped as it is the main building block in this course. The following lesson is designed with the assumption the order of lessons in this course as encouraged here is followed as much as possible, and so for practical reasons, less time will be spent explaining major concepts by the instructor. Thank you. This lesson is about the Alif letter or the Hamza letter. It is a complex topic. I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. We covered this letter before as a long vowel in the previous letters, ba, ta, and tha. If you remember, the long vowel Alif, it extends the letter. So ba becomes ba, ta becomes ta. But this is only one function of the Alif letter. This diagram simplifies a variety of situations the Alif or Hamza letter appears in Arabic writing. So the Alif could play like a long vowel, which was covered before, and when this happens you have examples like here, ba, ta, tha. However, when it does not work as a long vowel and it has what is called Hamza, which is this configuration, something like this. This Hamza could be on top of the Alif letter, or on bottom of the Alif letter, or on its own like this on the horizontal line. So when the Alif letter has a Hamza, we call it pronounced Hamza. Hamza becomes the new name for the Alif letter when it has this kind of Hamza. We call it Hamza. We'll call it a pronounced Hamza because you actually pronounce it. It appears in your dialogue. And examples like this appear here on the first line. You have the Hamza underneath the Alif, or the Hamza on top of the Alif, or the Hamza on its own on the horizontal line. This is called Alif with Hamza or Hamza, and you have to pronounce this letter in your dialogue. Examples of this, as we are going to see towards the end of this lesson, is the way you pronounce the ba, ta, and tha words, which are the full names for the ba, ta, and tha letters we covered before. So you pronounce the Hamza letter here. If there is no Hamza, we call it unpronounced Hamza. It is like a silent Alif letter or a silent Hamza. You do not pronounce it. We call it in Arabic Hamzatul Wasl, or a connecting Hamza, and we'll cover the different rules and regulations applied to it in simple terms later in this lesson. But it is unpronounced, and for it to be unpronounced, it has certain rules and regulations. And this is an example of it. This is how it looks. It's an Alif letter without the Hamza configuration, and this is an example of it. It has to have a letter afterwards with a sukoon. If this is the only way it appears, you have to pronounce the Hamza. Here it is pronounced as ithbat. This is the way this word is pronounced. But for this to be an unpronounced Hamza, you need to have a sukoon for the letter after it, and you have to have a letter before it or a word before it for this to become unpronounced Hamza. I'll explain further later on. So to simplify this, we have the Alif, which can work like a long vowel, as in here, or if it is attached to a Hamza, it becomes a pronounced Hamza. This is what we call it, as in here. And if it doesn't have a Hamza, it becomes unpronounced Hamza, where the Hamza becomes silent, unpronounced. It will become more apparent as we go through the lesson. I hope this diagram helps you in this lesson. Please come back to it whenever you need to. Next. So here you see the name in English, Alif or Hamza. As seen in the previous diagram, the Alif is called pronounced Hamza or unpronounced Hamza, depending on the situation. And here you see the name of the letter in Arabic, full name, Alif or Hamza, based on the overall configuration. Do not panic. Things will become more apparent throughout the lesson. If it is still difficult, come back to the lesson again and it should get easier. Again, repetition, repetition, and practice are critical for high performance in this course. Here you see how the letter looks like in three formats. On the right side, we have the Hamza on top of the Alif. In the middle, we see the Hamza at the bottom of the Alif. On the left side, we see the Hamza on its own. And we'll practice how to write this soon. So again, these are popular formats for the Hamza letter. Once you have this Hamza configuration, you have to pronounce the Alif, and it is called pronounced Hamza. Okay? So it could be on top of the Alif, at the bottom of the Alif, or on its own on the horizontal line. This diagram shows you where the Alif letter or the letter Alif is produced. It is produced at the lower end of the throat. Try it yourself. Say A or U or E. A. You feel like it is coming from the lower portion of your throat with vibration coming out of that zone. Alright? So the Alif letter or the A letter is produced at the lower end of your throat. So how is the letter Alif or Hamza written? Let's do some practice here. This is the Alif. You've seen it before. We've used it as a long vowel. Ba, ta. If you add Hamza to it, you have to pronounce it. The Alif now is called Hamza. And the Hamza could be on top, as in here, or could be written at the bottom of the Alif underneath the horizontal line, as in here, or could be on its own on the horizontal line. All these are called Hamzas or Hamza for each one. It's easy to write the Alif letter on its own. For the Hamza, you could write it like this on the horizontal line. Again, try. For simplicity, you could write it like this on the horizontal line. This is easier like that. Alright? Or you could draw it like a geometrical figure like this. Okay? As long as I know what you're writing, this should do. So here this is a straight line. This is Hamza. Another straight line. This is Hamza. this is Hamza on the line. This is a Hamza on the line. Alright? Next. And now we will try to apply the previous major concepts we covered in the ba, ta, and tha letters. And there'll be some slight differences because the Alif or Hamza letter is a little bit complex to deal with. I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. So remember the Fatha short vowel a. Here you have the Hamza on top of the letter and you add the short vowel Fatha on top. How do you pronounce this? A. A. Same thing applies here when the Hamza is on its own on the line with a short vowel Fatha on top. A. A. What would be the next vowel? Dhamma. Let's go there. Here you have the short vowel Dhamma. You have the Hamza on top with a short vowel Dhamma. How do you pronounce this? U. U. And you also have the Hamza on its own on the line. How do you pronounce this? Same thing. U. U. When you have the Hamza at the bottom of the Alif letter, you can only have a short vowel Kasra. So when you have a Fatha or Dhamma, the Hamza should be on its own on the line or on top of the Alif letter. Here, U, U. The next vowel will be Kasra. So the two possibilities for a short vowel Kasra here is like here. You have the Hamza at the bottom of the Alif letter, E, E. Or you have the Hamza on its own on the horizontal line. You could add a short vowel Kasra here. E, E. The Sukoon. I think for all practical purposes it is a good idea to include the Sukoon with the short vowels. And it makes lots of sense for me. So in the future, I might cover it as one of the short vowels, the Fatha and Dhamma and Kasra. So the Sukoon, or for simplicity, we call it stop sign. And you have here the two shapes of the Sukoon. And you have the Hamza on top of the letter or on the line on its own. Try to pronounce this. Sukoon. And now it is time for some practice. We'll practice the Hamza with Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra, and Sukoon. Whether the Hamza is on top of the Alif, at the bottom of the Alif, or on the line. Remember, a Hamza at the bottom of the Alif can only pick up a short vowel Kasra. Okay? The Hamza on its own on the line can pick up all of these. The Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra, and Sukoon. Let's practice. How do you pronounce this? E. E. What about the Hamza on its own on the line? U. U. How about this one? Sukoon. What is the other shape for Sukoon? How about this one? Sukoon. Short vowel Dhamma. U. U. Short vowel Fatha. A. A. Pause the video, create your own scenarios, test yourself, and come back. Next session. The next major concept is the Alif long vowel. And you could add an Alif as a long vowel to the Hamza letter. How do you expect the pronunciation will be? It will be which makes lots of sense. So we have here the Hamza, and you connect it to an Alif long vowel. The pronunciation produces what we call extended Alif. Extended Alif. Alif mamduda in Arabic. In English, extended Alif. So the A becomes A. And this is one popular format to present this Alif mamduda. Pause the video, try it on your own. So how about when you add the Waw long vowel, oo, to the Hamza? You have the Hamza here with a short vowel Dhamma, so it's oo. And when you add the oo or Waw long vowel, how do you pronounce this? Ooh. How about when you have the Hamza on the line with a short vowel Dhamma, oo, and when you add the Waw or oo letter, how do you pronounce this? Ooh. Pause the video, practice on your own. Ooh. How about when you add the Ya long vowel, E. You have the Hamza with a short vowel Kasra, E. And when you add the Ya to it, it becomes E. And some of you might wonder, this is how we actually pronounced the Ya or the Waw long vowel in the previous letters. The problem is, how do you write it? So if you want to write the oo, the A, the E, you need to add the Hamza to it. Okay? And here we have the Hamza at the bottom of the Alif with a short vowel Kasra, E, and we add the Ya to it, E. And sometimes it comes here based on the attachment to other letters. So if there is a letter coming after the Ya here, the Ya is written like this. Okay? E. How about when you have the Hamza with a Kasra short vowel on its own on the line, and you attach the E long vowel or Ya long vowel to it? These are two configurations it might show up in your reading or writing. You have here the Hamza on its own with a short vowel Kasra, and you attach the E, Ya long vowel to it, so it becomes E. How about if the Ya has a letter attached to it afterwards, like a Ba letter? Eeb. So this is another format for the Hamza on its own with a Kasra short vowel and the Ya or E long vowel afterwards. This is how you write it, E. So let's practice here the long vowels, A, E, Oo. I'd like you first to pause the video and test yourself on your own. Let's try. Remember the Alif Mamduda, which is the Hamza letter followed by the Alif long vowel. So this is Alif mamduda, extended Alif. How about when you have the Hamza, with a Dhamma short vowel, and you add the long vowel, wow, this is How about this? E. How do you pronounce this one? E, followed by the ya long vowel to be connected to a letter afterwards. E. What would be other examples or scenarios in our practice here? Try to figure it out. Try the Hamza letter on its own on the line and add to it the waw long vowel and the ya long vowel. Hamza, ooh. E. E. Next session. In this session we'll cover the tanween fatha, 2 fathas, tanween dhamma, 2 dhammas, and tanween kasra, 2 kasra. This has been explained extensively in the ba letter and to a reasonable degree in the ta letter. You can go back to this. We'll go quickly over this. I hope you've covered comfortably the previous lessons for the other letters. The tanween here can take place only at the end of a letter and can affect only the Hamza when it is on its own on the line. So there is no tanween when you have a Hamza on top of an Alif, and there is no tanween when you have Hamza at the bottom of the Alif. You can only have tanween at the end of a word, and when it comes to the Hamza, it happens only when you have the Hamza on its own on the line, like you see here. So here you have Hamza on the line with 2 fathas, an, and 2 dhammas or tanween dhamma. Remember, there are 3 ways to write tanween dhamma, and you have here the Hamza on its own on the line. The pronunciation will be un. How about when you have 2 kasras? How do you think the pronunciation will be? Tanween kasra or 2 kasras? In. An. On. On. In. I hope you got them all right. And for shadda, as a major concept covered in the previous lessons, you don't see shadda with the Hamza letter. Almost unheard of. And if you see it, it's an exception. So you don't see shadda with a short vowel on a Hamza. You don't see shadda with a tanween on a Hamza. And if you see that, it is rare. So we are not going to cover the shadda here with a short vowel or with tanween when it comes to the Hamza. We'll skip that. Our next session will cover the unpronounced Hamza situation, or Hamzatul Wasl, or the connecting Hamza, or the silent Hamza. Let's go there. In this session, we'll talk about the unpronounced Hamza, or the connecting Hamza, or the silent Hamza. This kind of Hamza has conditions for it to work. There should be a word or letter before the Alif or Hamza, and there should be a sukoon on the letter after the Hamza. So again, there should be a word or letter before the Hamza and a sukoon on the letter after the Hamza. These are conditions that have to apply for the Hamza to be an unpronounced or silent Hamza. If there is no letter or word before this silent Hamza, it will be produced as a pronounced Hamza without writing the Hamza. I'll explain. I will write a word derived from the alphabet letters we've learned so far. This word is ithbat, means remain steadfast or where you are, do not move. Ithbat. Ithbat. As you can see, I was forced to pronounce this Hamza because I can't say ithbat. I have to add the Hamza and pronounce it here at the beginning, even though this is a silent Hamza or Hamzatul Wasl or connecting Hamza or unpronounced Hamza. If it is written in the beginning of a word followed by a letter like the tha letter here with a sukoon, so we have some conditions applying here. We have a sukoon after the Hamza, but there is no word or letter before. You have to pronounce the Hamza here as a pronounced Hamza. Ithbat. Ithbat. You could write it like this, as a short vowel kasra at the beginning without the Hamza configuration. You add the kasra to the Hamzatul Wasl or the unpronounced Hamza, and then the rest of the word. You have the sukoon, ithbat, ithbat. We had to pronounce the Hamza here, even though it is a silent Hamza, because it is at the beginning of a word, not preceded by a letter or word. What if we add the letter waw, which is something we covered before as a long vowel oo, but it can be added to a word on its own, and we'll cover it sometime in the future. So we'll add the letter waw for simplicity, because we don't have many alphabet letters covered before. We'll add the waw letter here as a genuine letter, not as a long oo waw letter. We'll add it as a letter on its own before the silent Hamza here, and I'll show you how it becomes easier to make the Hamza silent if there is a letter or word before this silent Hamza. Let's try. Wa, silent Hamza or unpronounced Hamza, the rest of the word. It becomes easier now to make this Hamza silent, unpronounced. This Hamza is silent now. You can comfortably pronounce this word as wathbat, wathbat, as if this Hamza is non-existent. Alright? Wathbat, wathbat. You don't have to pronounce this Hamza, and you don't add to it any vowel here. There is no Hamza attached to it. So this is called silent or unpronounced Hamza, and it is also called connecting Hamza. Hamzatul Wasl. Why is it connecting? Here you can see it is connecting between the letter or word before and the word after. So all the conditions here are taking place for this silent Hamza. We have a letter before and we have a letter with sukoon after this silent Hamza. Wathbat. You do not have to say wa'ithbat. It sounds awkward. You don't say wa'ithbat. Wa'ithbat. You say wathbat. Some people would argue and say, why even write this letter if it is silent? Remember, if we do not have this letter before, you will need some form of Hamza before. We pronounced it before, remember? Ithbat, ithbat. So there was some kind of Hamza before there was a letter before. So it makes sense to maintain this letter even though it is silent when it has all the preconditions for a silent Hamza. Does it make sense now? Next session. We covered the major concepts related to the Hamza. So now we come to the real challenge. Time to quiz and test yourself. Time for exercises. And the best thing to start with is we can now, based on the limited number of alphabet letters we covered before, we can now pronounce the full names of the letters we took in the Arabic alphabet in this course. We took the ba, the ta, the tha, and if we add the Hamza to it now, you can pronounce the full name of the ba, ta, and tha letters, which are ba, ta, tha. And it makes sense to start the first quiz with the full names of these letters. What do you think of this first word? We have the ba with a short vowel ba. You have a long vowel a. You have a Hamza on the line on its own, and tanween dhamma or two dhammas. How do you pronounce this word? Ba'un, ba'un. Or you could say ba without the tanween dhamma, which is the full name of the ba letter. And you could add tanween dhamma to the end of it. So ba'un, ba'un. How about the second word? Test yourself. Ta'un, ta'un. What if we have tanween kasra at the Hamza on its own here at the end? Ta'in, ta'in. What about this third word? We have the tha letter with a short vowel fatha. We have a long vowel, and we have a Hamza on the line on its own with tanween dhamma. How do you pronounce this? Tha'un, tha'un. I hope it is starting to make sense. We're building more alphabet letters. We're dealing with genuine full words in the Arabic alphabet. And if you're starting to feel comfortable, you should be proud of yourself and be excited and happy going this far in the course. Next practice. And now we have something we covered before, but we need to emphasize. Let's try and see how good you are now. Try and read this word. It has all the concepts mentioned here. All the letters are things we've covered before. You have short vowels. You have letters we've covered before. And we have here what kind of Hamza? Unpronounced Hamza. But here it doesn't fulfill all the conditions because it has a sukoon on the letter afterwards, but it doesn't have a letter or word before it. So this is Hamzatul Wasl or unpronounced Hamza, and it should be pronounced, and we treat it as a pronounced Hamza. How do you read this word? Try. We have a short vowel kasra, sukoon, fatha, sukoon, and we have tha, ba, ta. Ithbat, ithbat. I hope you got it right. You should be happy and excited if you really got it right. This means you're doing well in this course. The next word. Do you think we have all the conditions or preconditions required for Hamzatul Wasl, or the unpronounced Hamza, or the silent Hamza? Yes, we have a letter before. You could also have a word instead of a letter. So we have a letter before the Hamza. We have a letter with sukoon after the Hamza. So how do you read this word? If you get it right, you should be really happy and proud of yourself for going this far in this course. Pause the video if you need. Think about it. Wathbat, wathbat, wathbat. Alright? Wathbat. Perfect. Next practice. How about this word? We covered all these letters before. We have the long vowel, the short vowels, the tanween dhamma, and this word does exist in Arabic. How do you read it? Try again. Athathun, athathun, and it means furniture in Arabic. Athathun, athathun, furniture in Arabic. Next practice. How about this word? Pause the video. Try it on your own. Athaba, athaba, athaba means rewarded. He rewarded. Athaba. How about this word? We covered all aspects of it before in the course so far, and if you really get it, you should feel good about yourself in this course so far. Try to pronounce it on your own. Pause the video if needed. Think about it. Take your time. Ithbatun, 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 meaning proof or evidence. Ithbatun. Next practice. What about here? You have the full names of the ba, ta, and tha letters with some modifications and tweaking here to challenge yourself. Try to figure out how to pronounce these. If you get them right, you should feel good about yourself. How do you pronounce the first word? Ba'un, ba'un, ba'un. How about the second word? Ta'i, ta'i, ta'i. And you can simplify this by splitting this and thinking of it as a Hamza on the line on its own with a short vowel kasra and the long vowel ya letter. E, E. So what about this third word? If you can figure it out, you should feel happy about yourself this far in the course. You could simplify these two letters as a Hamza with a short vowel kasra on the line and then a ya letter. This is not a long vowel E, this is a ya letter on its own. We'll cover it sometime in the future. And then you add a shadda with tanween dhamma on top. Remember, I told you we do not add shadda to the Hamza. The shadda here is on the ya letter. So how do you pronounce this word? Tha'iyun, tha'iyun, tha'iyun. Excellent. Let's try. So this is the first word. It has a Hamza at the beginning with a short vowel fatha. Try to read this word. It's a fake word. أبتثي أبتثي. What about this word? It has a Hamza with a long vowel Alif. This is extended Alif, Alif mamduda. How do you read the word? آثبتي آثبتي آثبتي. What about this third fake word? You have a Hamza at the end with tanween dhamma. How do you read this word? Pause the video if needed. بثتاء بثتاء. Excellent. Try to figure out how to read this word. Hamzatul wasl, or the unpronounced or connecting Hamza here, has a short vowel kasra, and it doesn't fulfill all the preconditions. There is no letter or word before it, but it has a ba letter with sukoon after it. So it is an unpronounced Hamza, but it is dealt with as a pronounced Hamza here because it doesn't fulfill all the preconditions. How do you pronounce this one? And you can take away the short vowel kasra connected to the Hamzatul wasl, and it still remains a silent Hamza. So how do you pronounce this? Ibtatha Ibtatha Ibtatha. Next practice. Here you have all the preconditions for Hamzatul wasl, or the silent Hamza. You have a letter before, and it could be a full word instead of just a letter. And you have a sukoon in the ba letter after the Hamza. How do you pronounce this word? You don't pronounce it as wa ibtatha, wa ibtatha. The unpronounced Hamza becomes meaningful here and practical. So you say wabtatha, wabtatha. The Hamza is silent. Here we have two fake Arabic words. The first one has a silent or unpronounced Hamza that doesn't fulfill all the conditions for the silent Hamza. The second word has a silent Hamza that fulfills all the preconditions for the silent Hamza. So try to figure out how to pronounce these two words together. Connect them together. Think of them as one word. And the Hamzatul wasl would make sense here to be silent. Try to read these two words together. Pause the video. This is very challenging. If you really get this one, you should be really excited and happy about your performance. Ibtun ibtathin. This is difficult even for the native speakers. So if you really can pronounce this and feel comfortable a little bit about it, you should feel good about it. Ibtun ibtathin. Ibtun ibtathin. The first Hamza is treated as a pronounced Hamza, ibtun, ibtun, because it doesn't have a letter before or word before. While this Hamza is treated as a silent Hamza, unpronounced Hamza, because there is a word before it and there is a sukoon in the letter after it. So this becomes ibtun ibtathin, ibtun ibtathin, as if the Alif unpronounced Hamza here is non-existent, and this is why they call it Hamzatul wasl, or connecting Hamza, because it's connecting these two words together and it becomes silent, unpronounced. Ibtun ibtathin. Excellent. Let's see if you can figure out this challenging fake word. See how you pronounce it. Let's try. Utathibiyun. Utathibiyun. And you can see that the ba here is written in an odd fashion. This is one way you can write the ba here. So you can, these three letters here, you could write it as here, or you could write it like this. Okay? That's okay, don't panic. That's fine. With practice, things will get easier. So let's try and pronounce this again. Utathibiyun. Again. Utathibiyun. You have the Hamza with a short vowel Dhamma, and you have a long vowel Wa here. This is another long vowel, and this is a Ya on its own with a Shadda with Tanween Dhamma. Utathibiyun. Let's try this challenging exercise. How do you pronounce this? You have Alif Mamduda or extended Alif, which is a Hamza plus a long vowel Alif. Try to read it. Athabun. Athabun. How about this word? Sorry, the page looks congested here. How do you pronounce the second word? You have a Hamza at the bottom of the Alif and a short vowel Kasra. I. How do you pronounce the whole word? Ithuba. 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 How about this third word, the outer limits of which are highlighted by the light blue color? How do you read this? You have a Hamza on top of the Alif with a short vowel Dhamma. Try to pronounce this word. Otabithun. Otabithun. I hope you got them all right. We are close to the end of this lesson. Before we finish fully, there is an important concept I have to talk about. There are times when the pronounced Hamza has all the preconditions needed for a silent or unpronounced Hamza, like in this example here, yet it remains a pronounced Hamza. Let me clarify. In this example here, we have a Hamza on top of the Alif letter with a short vowel Fatha. Remember, once you add this Hamza, this has to be pronounced. So there's no way this can be unpronounced. Once you add the Hamza on top of the Alif or at the bottom of the Alif or on its own on the line, this must be a pronounced Hamza. In this case, it has a short vowel, so A. And if you notice here, the pronounced Hamza here has a bunch of the conditions for the silent Hamza. It has a letter here before the Hamza, and it has a letter here with sukoon after the Hamza. Yet, this is still a pronounced Hamza because we added the Hamza to it, despite the fact that it has the letter before and the sukoon after. This will be pronounced as وأثبت. وأثبت. You don't pronounce it as وثبت. وثبت. This word does exist in Arabic, and it means he proved or he provided evidence. وأثبت. So this is pronounced despite the fact that it has a letter before and it has a sukoon on the letter after. To clarify further, here you have a pronounced Hamza because it has the Hamza on top, so this must be pronounced. And it has a short vowel Dhamma on top, so this is pronounced as U. And despite the fact that it has a letter before and a sukoon after, it is still pronounced Hamza and you still pronounce it. It is not a silent Hamza. And the way to pronounce this one, try to guess. وأثبت. وأثبت, meaning, and it has been proven. In this example, we see a silent or unpronounced Hamza. It is missing the Hamza configuration on top or at the bottom. It has a letter before and a sukoon after. This one is pronounced as wathbat, wathbat. And stay still. Remain where you are. Do not move. Wathbat. So I hope you got this concept. Keep it in mind. It is important to present it to you just in case you come across such words while reading Arabic. How about this one? This is to simplify how words can be written for you as a beginner. You can treat the letters as geometrical figures with 90 degrees angles or acute angles to make it easy for you. And this is an imitation of that concept. How do you pronounce this word? Pause the video and try. You have a Hamza on top of the Alif. You have a short vowel fatha. A. Boo. You have a long vowel waw. Tha. You have a long vowel alif. Tin. You have a tanween kasra or two kasras. How do you pronounce this word? Abu Thatin. Again. Abu Thatin. Perfect. We come now to the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now.